Hi, I'm Christy. I want to talk to you today about 504 plans in the school process. As I mentioned in the last video, 504s are considered IEP light, meaning that they are less complex than an IEP or an individualized education plan. A 504 is considered a civil right under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. It's actually enforced by the Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Education. It guarantees equal access and is designed to work in a general education setting. It falls under the FAPE category, which is a free, appropriate public education, and it's designed to remove barriers to learning. I also discovered that it's not possible to have both a 504 and an IEP. It's one or the other. Compliance for 504 plans is not optional. It is mandatory, but they are implemented differently from district to district and state to state. Some of the examples of accommodations that can be included in a 504 plan are extra time on a test. I have a friend whose daughter needed just a few extra seconds on a test, and so her teacher would pick her test up last, and that would allow her to finish it and to do her best on it. Another accommodation or another example is an allergen-free classroom for allergies, typically for food allergies. 504 plans are a little bit different than IEPs in that they have no objectives or goals specifically listed, and there is no description of an educational setting, again, because they're designed to be used in a general education setting. To qualify for a 504 plan, you have to have a shown disability, meaning you have to have a medical diagnosis or some other way to show that there is an impairment. They're designed for students in kindergarten through 12th grade, and it's for a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits at least one life activity. So again, this is the description of this, and how it qualifies varies from district to district. But again, you do have to have documentation of that, and the impairment cannot be temporary. Although having the impairment will not guarantee qualification for a 504 plan. To actually obtain a 504, a parent or a school or the school can initiate the process. The parents do need to give consent, although there is a due process that the school district can go through if the parents don't give consent. Some of the considerations are, is there a documentation or a medical diagnosis, as I mentioned before. There may also be testing or evaluation results that say, yes, there is an issue here and we can do something. Classroom observations just around the school in general, and the academic record will also be looked at. There is a team that is involved in creating a 504 plan. This will include a general education teacher, a special education teacher, a school representative, parent, as I mentioned before, not required, but I strongly request it, or I strongly suggest it, and the school will request that, and the parent can also request to be an active participant of the process. And then the student will be involved as well if they are old enough and mature enough to be a part of the team. Some of the things that are generally included in a 504 plan include any accommodations, services, or supports that the student needs, the school person that will perform the services, and while this may not be listed by name, it will be a position like a specific therapist, a physical therapist, or an occupational therapist, that kind of a situation. There will be a specific name of somebody included that will monitor for compliance. Something else that's a little bit different, there is no required progress reporting like there is in an IEP. So I do suggest the parents stay involved and make sure that progress is being made. If there are any concerns or you feel that progress is not being made, you can absolutely call for another team meeting to reassess things. And while it's not required, I also suggest that parents get a written signed copy so that you have that if anything should go wrong. And while I hope that you never have any problems and that you are never able to not come to an agreement, not able to resolve a disagreement, there are several ways that you can work through this. The first recommendation is obviously to go through the team that created the document and say, hey, I'm not agreeing with this, or I don't think progress is being made. Can we readdress this? If that is not sufficient and you can't come to a compromise or to an agreement on what's going to happen, then you do have a couple options. You can request a mediator who would help you reach a compromise. If that doesn't work, you can file for a formal hearing with an impartial official. If that doesn't work, you can file a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights, again with the Department of Education. And as a last-ditch effort, you do have the right to file a lawsuit. And I hope that it never comes to that for you. So this is a brief overview of a 504 plan and how to obtain one. I did a couple blog posts on it in June of 2017. I would love for you to check them out at www.havenofhopeforme.com. And I hope as you go through this journey, you can agree with me that life is good and there is never a dull moment.